Hi everyone, this is Jackie Cooper from JCooperTravels, and I'm so excited today to have Tanu, who's a nutritionist from California, joining us today on our podcast. And she knows how important it is to watch our nutrition and to stay healthy, especially when you travel because our schedules change. Tanu, thank you so much for being here today and sharing all your wisdom with all of our listeners. Can you tell us a little bit about your background? Because I found it fascinating. I know you're a global traveler and you're doing some really great things both here locally as well as around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks, Jackie, for inviting me for this session. It's a pleasure, of course, and getting to know you as well. My originally from background, I work in the IT industry, but what I'm passionate about is on nutrition, and it so happened that through chance, through helping my family members, I studied nutrition on the side, and I saw that there were more people in the community across the globe looking for help in filling the gap of nutrition awareness. And hence, that is how I started my journey about more than a decade back. Now I do consultations all across US, Europe, as well as in Asia.
I know. So prevention is better than a cure. So what sort of things would you recommend? I know you have a lot of great tips for us. So how do we support our immunity and our overall health?
Yeah, absolutely. A great question to ask. And I think we are so used to being reactive rather than proactive. And this is something which I always educate my clients and my friends and family members is how can we prevent ourselves from falling sick rather than going and paying so much of doctor's bills. And the best way to answer that is in our old age times, our parents always used to say that habits make you or break you. And it's so true for our own self as well, is that if we had followed the time of having a proper lifestyle, eating habits, good sleeping habits, it would have already prevented our falling into a lifestyle disease, if I may say, more of, say, the word is lifestyle disorder. And hence, I always say that, that taking prevention is always better than reaching out for a more expensive way of curing yourself.
So, what tips do you have so that way, if we're traveling, that we can keep our routine or our nutrition? Because when we travel, we love to experiment with eating new foods and things like that. But we also, like you said, we might be changing our sleeping habits because we're in different time zones. We might be not always eating the healthiest because we're not near a refrigerator. So what little kind of tips do you have for how we might be able to kind of balance that when we travel?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And this is something like we are all looking forward to going out and traveling back again. And it's anytime soon, right? And some of the things which I always say, and as we are locally or we are internationally traveling as well, of course, we want to sanitize, keep our sanitizer with us and masks with us based on the rules and regulations following, a social distancing. And when you're sitting in whichever seat, it could be while you're traveling in a flight or even if you're in a restaurant or any other places, sanitizing it before you're actually, sitting in that place. Washing your hands. I mean, I can't say that enough. I think at least in our culture, it is taught. When you step into the house, you wash your hands. When you get out of the house, you wash your hands. And it is so true that all those principles are coming back, more of like a forced fashion to all of us. The other thing is water, making sure that we are taking purified water along with us, not from those bottles which have which are not BPO free. So making sure that we are taking care of our hydration as we are traveling, especially internationally. If you're indoors, making sure of the air condition inside your indoor quality. How is it? Are you seeing, do you have a good air purifier in the house, which has a HEPA filtration? HEPA filtration is being actually accredited by across UK as well as US, especially for all the clinics, hospitals, because they want to make sure that whatever air you are actually inhaling is actually removing all the microbes all across in your interior of the house, and making sure there is no molds across in the area. It could be in the restaurant, it could be in the hotel, or wherever you're traveling. These are some of the things. Food wise, we are so used to traveling, if we are going for a 1-day tour, then we are used to traveling, taking our own food. But if you're eating out, again, making sure you're sanitizing and washing your hands as much as possible as you travel across. The most important thing in my backpack I always have are my essential vitamins. And these are vitamins I start taking way before I start to travel. 14 days before I travel, I start to take my probiotics to pep up my body. And probiotics it's like an arm, around your body. It helps you to create like a glass door across you and prevent any of allergens across your body to come inside. And it could be in the form of inhalation or any other form. So probiotics definitely a 1-a-day early in the morning before you start, 14 days before you start your trip. Another thing is very important. It's called a triple tickle. It's a kind of a course which a lot of preventative doctors as well as practitioners recommend. One being, garlic. They always say that garlic, it smells a lot. But in the form of supplement, garlic, which is very good for heart as well, and your lungs, along with echinacea. Echinacea is a form of actually essential herbs, which is very good for preventing any kind of eczema or any kind of extreme weather conditions. We go inside a flight, we experience an extreme kind of a weather condition. And if you're traveling across different countries, your skin will show that how dried it has become because of extreme weather condition. So echinacea prevents from that, and the vitamin C. So that's why it's called triple tickle. 3 supplements you take 3 times a day for 14 days is a course which will prevent you from falling sick across when you actually are traveling. And most important of all, when you are traveling, make sure your digestive system, your gut is good, because you don't know what kind of food you're eating. So making sure you are taking your probiotics as you travel along with fiber is another essential ingredient. And lots of water, for sure. Lots and lots of water.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I know that I traveled to China last November with my daughter, and we travel a lot using the I Go for Less platform. And so that I'm definitely going to make sure that I take garlic, echinacea, and vitamin C and the water, everything that you recommended. Now, I know I'm a firm believer in alternative medicine and alternative ways for, keeping your body healthy. I know that you have talked to me about yoga. What other sort of gentle exercise or things should we incorporate? Because that also keeps us flexible, and that's important too for the joints and everything else. What can you suggest on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Me being Indian, I can talk a little bit about, there's something called Surya Namaskar. It's a form of a kind of an exercise which we do early in the morning, irrespective of where we are from and wherever we are in the part of the country. It actually, 21 times if you do in the morning, it's pretty strenuous, believe me, if you go and look up. But it helps to move your blood circulation all across your body. But at the same time, you can do wherever you are at, While traveling last year, incidentally that you bring up, last year, me and my family went on a Europe trip. And 3 boys and both of us, we traveled to Spain, we traveled to France, Madrid, we traveled to, Paris. And all of this time, we made sure that in the morning we are doing yoga, especially the Surya Namaskar, which is helping us to help our blood circulation constantly flow. It helps you sleep well in the night. It helps your blood oxygen to go into the brains. And important thing of all, it is helping your body as you're moving from one part of the country to another to get adapted and rest well as you prep for the next day.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So I know that you're involved with a lot of projects. Would you like to share what some of the projects close to your heart?
Yeah, one of the biggest project that I have very close to me is, reaching out to as many as individuals who are interested in improving their wellness, and wellness holistically I'm talking about. So my goal is in the next 2 years to finish off at least touching 10,000 lives across the globe. And we are very close to it. I would say we are halfway through it at this point of time. And what outcomes I have seen is just amazing. My mailbox is just filled with thank yous, but at the same time, I'm seeing that how people are seeing a difference in not only in their sleep habits or maybe in their relationships, just because their lifestyles have changed. And at the end, I want to bring it back to what is your habit. My ultimate goal is if you can follow that as a habit, what I recommend, your game.
Yep, for sure, for sure. I know that you also have talked to me about minimizing toxins. So can you explain a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So my goal is definitely, as we go across our lifestyles issues, and as I mentioned, we are traveling. If we are not traveling, if we are at home, how do we minimize toxins? And toxins can be in different forms. It could be in the form of, just stress, and adrenal stress is something, especially during this time, we are watching a lot of news, and it is unnecessarily. Sometimes I feel I myself just don't even watch it. I think enough of WhatsApp and other news give me that information. But how do we overcome that? They say that the period of 10 p.m. to 2 p.m. is so prime for your sleep, and that helps you to overcome your adrenal stress. And most of the time we are with this situation, we are watching at night, or we're staying up late eating carbohydrates, and that is adding to our weight, our nervous system, our body's going tired. So how do we remove those toxins? By being around people who are actively participating in something creative, and avoiding relationships which are just draining you down. I wouldn't say that just avoid them, but make sure that they're not going into your sensory nervous system. Be there for them, but make sure that you yourselves are well guarded. It's like in an airplane, right? They say put a mask in yourself first before you put it in your child. And that analogy is so true in our own lives. So how do we minimize toxins? This is one format. And as I shared earlier, make sure toxins could come in the form of mold inside your home, or in the form of air, or in the form of water. Make sure you have a good water purification system, which actually helps you to drink good water and not those plastic generated water, where they're melting and you're drinking. So be safe and be careful in what you choose to put into your body. Your body is, I would say, an Aston Martin. It's not an old beaten up Ford, right? So how would you treat your body? That's how I would say that. Make sure to minimize toxins.
I love that. I love that. So I know that you have created a tip sheet and a PDF that for individuals who are listening to the podcast or watching the YouTube, and that way if you reach out to me, I'll be able to send that free gift to you. I also know you you did create a presentation, a little bit, you know, a PowerPoint. I don't know if there's anything else that maybe that we didn't cover that you would like to share, that especially, you know, if people want to reach out and use your services, how would they, what would they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the PDF that I shared, that web page that I've shared, there is a contact me form, and that form takes you to a certain questionnaires on what is it that you're looking to get help on, and specifically. So as you fill up that form, you once you fill that up, I get a notification at my end. And so we do a one-on-one consultation, and I can give you one such example, which I did just yesterday across in India. This particular girl, she works in the airline industry, incidentally, and she has a 12-hour shift right now.
Oh my gosh.
She is just 27 years old, unmarried girl, and she's stressed out. She's just, I would say she's 47 kilos, that she's like 60 pounds. She's very petite, and
Yeah.
she's been losing weight a lot. And her concern is that she's seeing a patches in her hair, in her scalp, like an alopecia because of the stress. And so we jumped into a Zoom call. We did a consultation, and I'm walking her through on not only on her diet and nutrition, but certain reading habits which can help her to sleep better, as well as on some of her lifestyle changes. And it could be based off of food, because she is a vegetarian and very less amount of protein she's taking. So I had to add things into her life and take out things so that it could help her balance her life as she's working 12 hours of shifts.
That's great. Well, I truly appreciate your being on. I know that you've shared some really powerful tips that I didn't know about, and I definitely going to be incorporating. I know that you've looked at the I Go for Less site. You know, again, everyone has the ability to travel less, and that way it allows you, when you can save on your travel, to reinvest that money back into you for the food that you eat and the enjoyment that you have, which is always great. So thank you so much for coming on. And if anyone who's listening would like to reach out, just connect with me or look at the text box that's above the podcast. That way you'll be able to reconnect with Tanu. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Jackie. Pleasure's all mine.